My first week on Crete was eventful. First, I was assigned to Able Flight as a senior analyst, but better than that, I got to Crete at the exact right time. Some guy was returning home to the land of the Big BX. He posted a for sale ad in the Airmen's Club trying to sell his 1951 Jeep. I made an offer and got it. I now have complete freedom to come and go as I wish. Not having personal transportation, you're limited as to how much you can get around. The military runs some buses, but mostly they go between base and Iraqland. Occasionally, special trips are organized by flight commanders so guys on their flight can see places of interest on the island. However, buses don't help much if you want to explore the island at your own pace. For example, if you want to go camping, visit new beaches, or try out a small town taverna. You really need your own transportation. Being assigned to Able Flight meant being assigned a room in the Able Flight barracks. So naturally enough, the first people I met were my roommates. On our first 3-day break after I bought the Jeep, I suggested to both Jim and Walt that we take an inaugural trip. They had both been to Iraqland several times, and because I didn't want to plunge into city traffic right off the bat, we decided to check out the small town of Malia, which is a few kilometers east of base. One of the guys on flight had told us there was a nice beach there and a small hotel with a taverna. That sounded good to us, so we took off. It was my first trip off base. Malia is an easy drive through the mountains. Fortunately for me, as a new international driver, there is very little traffic. The town itself is very small, and we easily found the picturesque hotel near the beach. It's called the Moon Spinner. This hotel is owned by an American expatriate. The hotel's taverna is outside. As we talked over beers, we noticed that the owner was very interested in us as American GIs from the nearby intelligence base. He kept up a steady conversation with us. Because of the nature of our work and the constant warnings to be ever vigilant, all three of us became very suspicious. We were the only customers in the taverna. We thought this guy might be a communist spy who was going to try to get classified information. So after a couple of beers, we thought it best to leave and explore the beach. As we walked just east of the Moon Spinner Hotel, we climbed over volcanic rock. At one point, we thought about swimming out to the small island just offshore that had a chapel on it. But then Jim noticed something strange in the clear water. Although none of us could be called historians, we knew that the Germans had occupied Crete during World War II. We had also been told that the Germans mined the beaches during their occupation to discourage an Allied invasion. Also, we had been given vague warnings about mines still existing on various beaches, and that we should always use caution when off base. After all, World War II had ended less than 20 years before. It made sense. I had never seen a mine before, but whatever it was we saw in the water sure looked like one. Both Jim and Walt agreed. So, after a short debate, Jim thought the prudent thing to do would be to blow it up to keep someone from possibly being hurt or killed. He grabbed the largest rock he could easily handle and tossed it into the water, attempting to detonate it. I had the only camera that day, so I figured my responsibility was to stand back to capture the explosion for posterity. Having photos would prove to our superiors that we had done a great service for the Greek people. Just as Jim threw the rock, Walt decided he would rather watch the explosion from a greater distance, so he took off fast. Nothing exploded. I don't know if Jim missed the target or not, but I have to admit I was a little disappointed. All things considered, though, we had a good time. Malia is definitely a place to revisit.